All right, here we go. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining to learn about vertical gardening and how to grow anywhere. My name is Megan, and my friend Gina is also going to be sharing a little bit at the end of this as well. So we have two startling trends that are affecting our health today that you're probably aware of. The first is that we have, environmental toxins that are increasing in our environment. We're dealing with all different kinds of things, sewage treatment, all different kinds of combustion and septic tanks and groundwater problems and all these different contaminants and pollutants that are happening. And at the same time, our body's also being affected by food quality as that's decreasing. We're having lots of preservatives, all different flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, fewer nutrients in our foods, pesticides, etc. So now more than ever, it's really important to be thinking about the things that we're doing in order to protect our bodies, against the different changes that are happening in our world today. So I am part of a community that inspires healthy living around the world, and we do this in two ways, really. The first way is with nutritional support, and then the second way is with growing our own food, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So more than half of the world is now living in an urban area. Whether or not you're living in the suburbs or in a rural area or in the urban area, for the first time in history, more people are living in cities than in rural areas. And meeting the nutritional needs of these densely populated areas is really difficult. It's been a real challenge to find, fresh, locally grown produce. It's been a real issue, especially over the last 30, 40 years. And, food deserts, if you're not familiar with the term food desert, it's a place where there's very little fresh food available to people. So I live in Baltimore, and Baltimore is one of the worst food deserts in the United States. So we only have a handful of grocery stores, and everything else is just corner stores. And of course, the grocery stores are located in more of the wealthy areas. So it really kind of creates a problem when you're talking about food equity and food access. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, is addressing food deserts and things like that. But if you're not living in a food desert, or if you are, whether you're in the country or you're in the city, why should we grow our own food? So one of the reasons is that it saves money. Another reason is that it's guaranteed to be fresh because you're literally bringing it from your garden to your table. Food in the US, a lot of us now know this, travels on average 1,500 miles from farm to plate. And specifically commercially grown produce is picked way before its peak ripeness. So we're really lacking a lot of the nutrition because most of the nutrition happens in those later stages of photosynthesis when the ripening happens and all of the great color and antioxidants get into those fruits and vegetables for you. We're kind of skipping that part. As I mentioned, our fruits and vegetables have had up to a 40% decline in nutritional value since 1940, which is absolutely horrifying. It means we have to eat a lot more fruits and vegetables, and we have to be really careful about the quality. And if we grow our own, it's much better nutrient density. Of course, we like to grow non-GMO food for ourselves. And of course, when you're growing your own food, there's no risk of recall due to the different outbreaks that have been happening, such as E. coli, salmonella, listeria. I think pretty much everybody has been affected in some way or has been worried about, the romaine lettuce crisis of late 2018. Even organic spinach has been contaminated with E. coli in recent years. And so another really great thing is that, we are controlling what goes in and what goes on what we're growing when we grow our own food. So that's no pesticides, no herbicides, etc. And I don't know if anybody's seen, I think just yesterday, the Environmental Working Group came out with their list of the Dirty Dozen, and they come out with one every single year. And now kale has joined the ranks of the annual Dirty Dozen pesticide list. And as you can see over here, the top 12, going from strawberries down to potatoes, these are fruits and vegetables that, they're really good for us, nutrient-wise, but we're really taking a risk sometimes if we're not buying these ones, organic specifically. So common challenges. when we're gardening, right? Like, why isn't everyone just growing our own food? All those things sound so great. Well, one of the things is that there's no space. Maybe you live in the city, or you don't have, a big yard in the suburbs. Maybe you don't have a green thumb. Maybe you don't like to deal with the pests or with weeding. You might have a bad back. It's difficult to bend over and do those things. I know growing up in North Jersey, we had a lot of deer and other creatures trying to eat our plants all the time. A shorter growing season for a lot of us, a long wait for harvest, and sometimes we don't have enough sun, and let's just face it, we're all really busy. We don't all have enough free time to be out gardening every single day. And some people, as these pictures suggest, just might not be, they might be plant killers. Not a lot of people, can even kill a cactus. So they're kind of worried about getting their hands dirty, like literally dirty in the garden. So what we're here to talk about today is a different way of gardening. This is a vertical aeroponic garden system called Tower Garden. And this is a system that I've been growing with for the last 7 years, and it's been incredible to learn how to use this new technology for growing, really great, high quality food. So the cool thing about the Tower Garden is that you can grow absolutely anywhere. That is the topic of our discussion for tonight. As you can see, this is a vertical system. It is using only 98% less water than you use in traditional growing in the ground. It takes up 90% less space, and so that's really awesome. Being able to grow up, we're able to use that vertical space when our horizontal space is limited. You can grow 30% more yield, and you can grow up to 3 times faster using this technology. So we actually grow without soil, which makes it grow a lot faster. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. All right, how does a vertical system like this work? So the plants, they start in something called rock wool, and this is a soilless medium. So instead of using soil, the Tower Garden plants will grow in the rock wool, and that provides plant roots with oxygen, consistent moisture, and it really encourages faster growth. So you just start little seeds in these little spongy cubes, and then eventually you transport them into your Tower Garden. And there's a reservoir at the bottom of the Tower Garden, as you can see here, and that is what stores the water and the plant food, the plant nutrient solution. So the Tower Garden Mineral Blend is a liquid plant food that's made of pure earth minerals, and these are essential for growing. Food is essential for your plants to grow, and so you just fill that 20-gallon reservoir at the base of your tower with a mixture of water and the mineral blend, and that's all it needs. And then that solution, there's a low wattage submersible pump that's in the bottom of that reservoir, as you can see here. And that pushes the water and the nutrients to the top of the tower, and then it just trickles down the system directly onto the plant roots. So this provides a highly oxygenated environment for these plants, which is one of the reasons why they can grow so much quicker and why you can grow so much more yield. And this pump is actually on a timer, so the Tower Garden actually waters itself, so you don't even have to be there in order to water it, which is really convenient for those of us who are on the go. And then step 4, you just harvest and enjoy. Literally in a few weeks, you can enjoy your homegrown, hyper-local, really nutrient-dense food, which is amazing. So what can you grow in a Tower Garden? You can literally grow so many things, anything except for a root vegetable, a tree, or like a bush. I love growing all of my herbs, basil, oregano, parsley, you name it, cilantro. I also love growing all of my greens, kale, spinach, romaine. I don't have to worry about any of those being contaminated by pesticides or by E. coli or anything like that. And then you can also grow fruiting plants, which is my favorite part. I love growing tomatoes. I love growing strawberries. I'm really impressed by just seeing how an eggplant grows. You can grow tons of those, cucumbers, etc. So you really can, you don't have to stick to just one plant per tower. You can grow a variety of things in a tower. Okay, so you're like, wow, I'm afraid of this. I've never seen it before. How hard is this to do? Well, Tower Garden maintenance is actually, again, really simple. The setup is so simple. All you need is a flat surface and a space that's about 3 feet by 3 feet. The tower is 2.5 feet in diameter. So you just kind of want a little bit of space to be able to walk around it. If you're outdoors, you want to find a sunny spot. 8 hours minimum of sun, I would say, is ideal. But some plants really will grow in the shade. So you can ask me if you have any questions about that. You'll definitely need access to an outlet or an extension cord of some kind, because that's what the pump connects to. And the assembly literally will take 20 to 25 minutes. I think I've probably had it down to even 15. I've done it so many times. But everything just comes in one box, and it's really simple. Everything that you need to grow comes in that box. And then you can either plant your own seeds directly into the rock wool that comes with the system, and just kind of wait for them to germinate and grow into seedlings, or you can actually purchase seedlings that are already ready to go from a tower farm. And those usually run about like $1 to $2 per seedling. So if you're impatient or you just want to get a head start, that's always a great option. So weekly effort for tower garden maintenance, you pretty much just want to check your reservoir and make sure that it's at least half full. You don't ever want the water to go below the pump, because then it'll just be pumping air instead of water. And then you'll just add water and nutrients when it gets half empty. So I say on average every 2 weeks you might add a little bit, depending on the season. And then you'll just monitor the pH using the pH kit that comes with it. And then you're just going to want to, trim the roots and prune certain plants like tomatoes. If you want to trellis them, you can do that. But overall, it's really simple. Just keep an eye on it. And then the best part is harvesting. Usually this happens in about 3 weeks, depending on your crop. I can get a head of lettuce from like seed to full head of lettuce in about, I think it's 25 days, depending on what variety of lettuce. So it's really quick. And a lot of the crops that you'll be growing will produce multiple harvests, so you can constantly harvest. When you're doing things like greens, you can either like pull out the entire plant, and then you'll just see like the plant roots hanging, kind of just like that living lettuce you might find in Whole Foods. You can do the whole thing, or if you want, you can just cut about 2 inches from the base of the lettuce, and then eat your salad, and then it'll grow back from there. So that's really cool as well. Okay, so some benefits of growing with the tower garden. It's plug and play. It's a garden in a box. It's really simple and everybody can get involved. Kids absolutely love the tower garden. I know Gina's going to mention this a little bit with her daughters, but my nephews and my niece absolutely love my mom's tower garden. And I like to work a lot with kids in schools, getting gardens into those schools for kids to really, get a little bit more of a feel for a new wave of science, a new wave of technology, and have them learn where their food comes from. When they're the ones actually helping to grow it, they're much more likely to taste it. So like we mentioned, the vertical growing only uses 10% of the space than it does if you're doing horizontal. It's super sustainable, requiring only 2% of the water that's needed compared to growing in the ground. You can grow 20 to 52 plants per tower, depending on what options you have. We have a base model of the tower garden that has 20, and then we have all different extensions that you can add. We have a microgreens extension, and we have another couple extensions as well. And again, you're able to grow 3 times faster than you are in soil. So it's a really great investment when you're talking about being able to grow a lot of food and grow it quickly. So here's a little example from week 1 when people have put their seedlings, they've popped their seedlings into the tower, and then week 2 and then week 3. So you can really see how fast these are growing. You can grow pretty much anywhere. You can grow outdoors, you can grow in a greenhouse, or you could grow indoors with a light system that we have. You can see these kids over here have a light system that's attached to their tower garden. There's also no growing experience or green thumb necessary. And this is also great because you don't have to bend over to weed. There actually are no weeds that ever happen in this garden, which is awesome. And finally, you have a lot more control you have total control actually over your food and what's being put on this. So you're not really going to be using pesticides. You're not going to be using herbicides or anything like that. So it's great to know that this food is going to be completely safe. So who can grow vertically? Literally anybody and everybody can do this. These are great for individuals and families. You can just throw a tower garden out on your back porch or in your lawn or inside your living room, in your kitchen, if you have lights, etc. Schools really love these. I'm really passionate about getting tower gardens into schools. We have a lot of curriculum that's actually written around tower garden as a learning tool. So not only are you able to teach kids, about fruits and vegetables, what they are, incorporate maybe some cooking skills, but they're also able to, learn how to measure plants and maybe track the growth and kind of incorporate all different types of STEM education into the tower garden, which is great. I volunteer actually at a community center, and we have like 8 tower gardens at the community center, and we love to host different garden nights and teach people about this way of gardening and providing food. Restaurants, there are a bunch of different restaurants around the country that are doing tower to table. Local food is where it's at, and hyper local food is, where the farms are actually on top of the restaurants, like on their roofs. That's really a new wave that's happening. So it's really exciting. I have a couple of tower gardens that people are loving in their juice bars. People are able to, grow in their juice bars and actually take the kale and the lettuce, et cetera, and put it into their juices that they're serving to their customers. Grocery stores, hospitals, hotels, greenhouses, on rooftops, patios, decks, balconies, indoors or outdoors, everybody can grow with these. So here's just a couple of ways that I'm personally using tower gardens with my group of gardeners. My friend Alyssa has been putting tower gardens in universities and in schools all over North Jersey and South Jersey actually as well. You can just really see, the abundance of food that's created here, and it's just been an incredible way to not only connect, with the food that I'm growing and creating for myself, but also to help impact the food availability for other people in my community, specifically in Baltimore, has been really wonderful for me. And I just love seeing people get in touch and get a little bit dirty, even though this is pretty much the cleanest way of gardening since there's no dirt. I'm going to pass this over to Gina, because I want her to share just a little bit about her story with how she likes to use the tower garden.
Sure. Thanks, Meg. That was so informative. I always learn from you. So yeah, I'm newer to the towers. I got mine a year ago. Actually, it's almost 2 years now. And I was a little overzealous my first time. I only had it outside, and I put every possible seed that came with it in my tower, and I didn't have climbing cages. But it was beautiful just all over the place. So I got my lights this year, and I brought it inside. I'm actually in my kitchen, so it's right here behind me. How cool is that? So you can see like my basil's like out of control. I have all my greens. So this time I did all greens because I eat them all year long. And I don't know about you, but like I'll buy like a big bin of like organic greens, and then if I don't use it all, it gets like all slimy and gross, and I end up wasting it. And like, one thing I hate is like wasting food, but so this has been so cool. So I don't know, some of you on here know me, you follow me. I do a lot of cooking. I work with clients on healthy eating and healthy recipes, and it's been so cool to like literally cook tower to table. I make mine and my husband's salad for lunch like every day from the tower, and I'm like, Mike, you have a tower salad today. So that's been really neat. I put all herbs on here as well, because herbs in a store are so expensive and they do not last long unless you dry them and do that whole process. I've been giving my neighbors tons of I told all my neighbors, come over, do you want some basil, do you want some parsley? So it's been really cool. But what I love so much is watching my girls be so fascinated by this. They help me build it. It's really easy. Like if I can watch a YouTube video and figure it out, I think anyone can. Whenever we notice the water getting low, they love to fill like the water reservoir. And it's just like, it's honestly, there's something so rewarding about like watching this happen from seed or seedling and then like on your plate. So we test the pH together. Like you have to do that just a few times. Like Megan said, oh, here goes my pump. Can you hear it? Can you hear that trickling or no? The water's going on now.
A little bit.
So like it just didn't, it's on a timer. I'll show you. My timer's like over here. and my lights are on the timer, so I don't do anything. I just it just sits in my kitchen and waters itself, and the lights go on while we're sleeping, and they're still on in the morning, and then they click off about 8 o'clock. But like I was saying, so we test the pH, we fill the water. My girls love to do that because the water changes color. It's really cool. It's like, science and just so many things coming together. And like Megan said, like, kids are more prone to eat things that they take part in. So I can't wait to, when I bring it back outside, I'm going to do like cucumbers and tomato, all the things that my girls love to eat, and just watch them, benefit from it. It's truly sad. You don't really understand how fascinating it is until you see one in person or you grow one yourself, but it has probably been one of my better investments, and I love it. I can't wait to get into the schools around here and more people to catch on. So
that's awesome. Thanks so much, Gina.
Yeah.
And I will just say one more thing about, the taste of the food that's being grown out of the Tower Gardens is literally out of this world. Like, I didn't know that lettuce had an actual flavor until I grew it myself. And, the spiciness of the arugula and, the spice of the basil, it's just, and the sweetness of the tomatoes and the strawberries, it's just absolutely incredible. What we're used to in the store or even at the farmers markets, to be able to just grow it yourself, it's incredible. So what I love about what Gina said, and it wasn't even planned actually, she called it, an investment for herself. And for me, I completely agree. The Tower Garden, is an investment. It's an investment in your health, and it's any way that we're putting, good things into our body and just enhancing, our lifestyle in that way. It's an investment in our health for sure. So people are always like, oh my God, this thing, how much is it? Like, that's what I want to know. So I'm going to let you guys know how much it is. So one Tower Garden, this is the base model. You can grow 20 plants inside of it, which is awesome. It is about $525, and you can pay that in full if you want, plus like shipping and handling. Or if you're like, oh, that's like, a little bit steep for me to just shell out right now, you can actually have, 12 payments. So 1 year payments, monthly payments for $45.25. So that is a no interest payment plan. It's absolutely amazing. And after that year, the tower is just yours. And you're just, pretty much growing money on trees or on a tower, because we all know how expensive, even just greens can be, let alone everything else. So that's one option that we have there. And the nutrients are really affordable as well. Nutrients and everything comes with the kit. This one Tower Garden comes with the pump. It comes with the actual tower itself. It comes with everything. The lights are extra. And then you also, if you want like a dolly to roll it around on, that's a little bit extra as well. But we can help you if you guys are interested in kind of navigating what you'd like to add on with your accessories. A second option.
Can I just interrupt there for a second?
Yeah,
so my first 2 rounds of using the garden, I literally used what was shipped to me the first time around, and you don't need all the extra bells and whistles, but literally everything that you need comes in that first. I can't move your mouse in the first picture right there. So it was well worth it. We did the payment plan, and then 1 year we were done paying for it. And now I'm like, oh, here, let me just grow like Megan said, I'm going to grow my food for free.
Exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. And so I will say my my first Tower Garden paid for itself in 4 or 5 months, as far as paid for itself in food. When you think about, if I give you $45 a month to go, to the grocery store, you're not going to get that much, at Whole Foods or even at the farmer's market. So, and you're only paying that for 1 year. And after that, you're just being able to grow for the cost of nutrients. So the second option that we have is called the Family Garden Trio Bundle. So this is if you're, wanting to, grow a little bit more. So this is about $16.90 for the pay in full plus shipping and handling, or 12 payments of $142.33. And again, that's a no interest payment plan. And then the final thing that we have is for people who are looking more for, community garden bundles. This is 12 towers, and it's a $6,000 investment for pay in full, or it's about 12 payments of about $500. This is an incredible option if you're thinking about, for your restaurant or for your school, if your school wants to have a garden, outdoors or indoors, or if you know somebody who's trying to get into larger scale growing, possibly food banks, hospitals, etc. I mean, there's absolutely endless possibilities for who can really use something more substantial like a community garden bundle. And then we also do have, I'll just mention it, more commercial sized gardens. And so that's where you're talking about, 20 plus towers that are all growing, like they're taller than these residential ones. And, people are putting those in warehouses, and people are putting those, in greenhouses around the world now, which has been really cool to see, a different way of commercial farming, one that is, much more nutrient dense. It's much more sustainable for our environment, and it's better for our health as well. And so yeah, honestly, that's all I have right now to share. So thank you all so much for listening. If you have any questions right now, I would love to take them. And if not, or if you're listening to this recording and you have any questions, you can either email or text me, go find me on Instagram at The Garden Prescription, or just reach out to the person who invited